Still aiming for the top. Know I had to get it on my own, nigga. I done really came up off the block. Had to dodge the hate from the clones, nigga. I ain't really asking for a lot. Just a couple businesses and homes, nigga. Every day is always fuck the cops. They be wanna take a nigga.
And we here, we bike.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
Just another podcast. I don't know if that's the right number.
It's not. It's episode
God,
15.
you're fired, Ron. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I got a job for you, Ron.
Whatever.
I got a job for you, bro.
I'm definitely irreplaceable.
The one that makes my life easier is gonna get paid first. Ain't the right eighth. Thanks. Best Partner 757. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Shout out to everybody on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Welcome. We're going through some real stuff today. We got a guest.
Yes.
President, right?
Yep.
NAACP president in Portsmouth, James Boyd. Let me get everybody else.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here with y'all, man. It's my honor.
Got Coy in the back directing things. Ave on the cameras. Lydia with that hat on again.
Shut up.
April O'Neil, a.k.a. Asia. a.k.a. Asia.
That is hilarious.
We Emmy nominated, thanks. Ron is here. B Hood, Chris Featherston. Make sure you say the Featherston. Casey from the Compass Circle.
I'm weak.
And I'm your host, No Substance Dean.
I can't.
Bringing all the substance. All right, but this is going to be a kind of a serious pod for most of it. Hopefully it's educational for all our listeners. And we want to get right to it, bro. We got lots for you. You ain't in a rush, are you?
Nope.
You look like you got places to be.
No, sir. I just came from somewhere. I'm good, man. Cool.
So we're going to kick it for a little bit. We're going to try to hit this whole board and maybe, lighten it up towards the end.
Yep.
If you down to do that. So
Absolutely.
give my listeners some history. What is the NAACP and how does it work?
Absolutely. So NAACP is a civil rights advocacy organization. It started in 1909. Really, it was to address lynchings in America.
Okay.
So that's how it kind of originated. Now today, we are a multifaceted advocacy organization. Mm-hmm. That has about 6 million members worldwide. Mm-hmm. So it's big, but we have a lot of work left to do in terms of the NAACP. But again, the origins of it was to address lynchings that was happening in America.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it? Go ahead, bro.
What? I was just about to ask. I was gonna
Let him loose. Let him loose. Let him loose.
Come on. Yeah.
Let him loose.
I just wanted to ask how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you how I started, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was an NAACP skeptic, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, yo, what are they doing? Mm. It's just an organization that has history but no future. Mm. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, listen, we got to be careful because if we don't really address the issues in our community, we're gonna be an organization that is studied and not followed. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll be in the history books, but nobody's gonna be following us today.
Right. I like that you said that because Chris sent us the link today to join, and something that we were talking about kind of with black banks is like, I support a black bank, but they're not really doing nothing for me to want to be a part of it. So it's like, before I even want to join, tell me what they're doing in the community. Like, what are you guys doing specifically in Portsmouth? Yeah. And how can I really be a contributing factor? And then it's something that like I want to be a part of versus me just joining because I'm black.
Yeah, and I mean, be careful with that, right? Like, I know your intent is genuine, but like some people have that bar on black banks, right? Like, we go to Town Bank, we'll open an account. You don't ask who's on the board of Town Bank. You know what I mean? Right. You don't, so it's the same thing. Like, we have to be open to sacrificing when it comes to investing in us. Everything might not be okay, right? They might not have the span that Town Bank has, but if all of us collectively say, look, we're going to sacrifice a little bit, and we're going to collectively come together and eventually get it to that point, it'll work. You know what I mean? But you're right. Like, I mean, for us, and in terms of, support, I'm trying to get back to the origins of your question because I got on that tangent. But
we had a long discussion about it. And I have a One United Bank card in my pocket as we speak. I did support. But then afterwards, I'm like, yo, come on, man, give me more.
That's the answer, bro. Yeah. The answer is, I can critique you and support you at the same time.
But
that's exactly what the point. Yeah, my problem is, you have the critiquers out there, and then they ain't supporting. Mm-hmm. But so
I'm
We
critiquing
out here.
after I supported. I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
you want me to transfer more money from Bank of America, but you not.
Yeah,
That's the
and
form.
that's how you
Yeah.
get it to where it needs to be. Not just money. It comes from
Yeah.
helpful
Actually,
critique.
yes, correct.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, now we here. We're all aligned.
Yeah,
now.
we're here.
We talked about that for 45 minutes one pod.
Yeah.
We did.
And it
It's
wasn't a,
interesting that you were a NAACP skeptic because I know a few of them.
Oh man, and listen, my aunties and my grandma, I was a member from 5 years old, and then I was like, listen, what are y'all doing, y'all? It's a bunch of old people, you know what I mean? Like, y'all ain't, you ain't doing nothing. But as I started to infiltrate in it, and I started to get involved with the older members, and they would tell me stuff like, listen, do you know what I went through back in the day? Like, it's funny, like I was 20 when I really got back to the branch. I was about 24. And they were like, listen, do you know what I was doing when I was 24? Like, bottles were being thrown at me. Like, I couldn't walk. So the fact, do you have some type of respect for that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, look, I'm not going to downplay them no more. Like,
Right.
they sacrificed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get involved and get activated. Then my aunt was murdered in Portsmouth. So when that happened, I was like, all right, so I can do one or two things. I can complain or I can get involved. And the brand of the NAACP is powerful. Like, regardless of, it's not doing what we wanted to do yet, but the brand, like, we could cause something and people, so I'm like, how do we galvanize that attention and bring it to the movement of our people? And like, if we can do that, then we're gonna do something special. So that's when I kind of changed from skeptic to like member.
I don't think it should be on older people anyway. I think they should have the privilege to pass it down to somebody. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was
y'all take it from
highly-
here. Like, we're done.
I was highly disturbed by some of the memes I seen today where it was like, we not our ancestors or something. I'm like, bro, that's real disrespectful to the people that
Yeah.
came before us and what they went through.
telling
I
you,
get
mine
what
is
you're
different.
trying to say, but no, that's disrespectful.
No,
Climate
no
is
doubt.
different.
I won't roll.
I clicked the link when he sent it out about the membership, and I'm very interested because I do business at a very high level, and I did with some very high level government agencies.
Absolutely.
So I clicked on that, and I was surprised because I didn't know it was so accessible. I've never seen the link before. I've never even had access to anything like that. So I was pretty pleased to know that.
Yeah, it's good. Like, if you join, I mean, it's $30 a year. It's not expensive at all. And then you join the branch that the city that you live in. You join that branch. You don't have to do that. You can be in Virginia Beach and join the Portsmouth branch if you want. Okay. Yeah, we've made it a lot more easier. It used to be, man, where we didn't even have like apps. You had to fill out the paper. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a bunch of us on the NASA got to the NASA office was like, yo, listen, wait a minute. I'm not going out there
This
to
ain't
paper
gonna work,
anymore.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, get some apps, and so we started to change it, little by little. It was working.
So what about for like business owners? You and I know each other, so we have a history.
Yeah.
But what about a lot of us want to get involved? You know, we have a certain business acumen that we can probably use to help the cause. Are there different layers in terms of for business owners versus like a regular member?
There are. So business owner people that got a large bank account like you do. There's different levels of membership. You can join. You can be a life member, which is $750 or $750. You can pay $75 for 10 years if you want. Or they have a Diamond Life, which is $2,500, and then a corporate sponsor, which is $5,000.
I saw that.
So corporate sponsors, you get the red carpet. You got
Oh, yeah.
corporate sponsors.
Yeah, hit that link.
I
Okay.
mean, we'll take your check right now. I mean,
I saw that. I mean, people don't know. Like, when you get involved with, like minds, and you're right, it's a very powerful brand, especially if you get, caught up.
if we use it right, and that's the thing, like business owners, black people pay taxes.
Facts.
So why is it that when it comes to the government allocation of funds, we're the minority?
Hello?
Like, and if you look at, really in America, if we're talking about the lower class, that's us. Like, we pay majority of taxes in this country.
Correct.
So that money, we want it. We want to use that money to, I don't want to, and I do. I am of the philosophy that we need to support our own, grow our own. Absolutely.
Thank you.
But give me those damn funds, yo.
That's right.
Let me
Oh,
use
go
it.
ahead, touch on the census
Yeah,
real quick.
exactly.
Go ahead, touch on the
Oh,
census real quick.
Oh man, listen, the census
Since you
is
saying that.
huge, yo. The
Super
census,
huge.
Oh my god, the
Did I put
census.
that on there?
It's
I
up
think it's
there.
up there.
I know
Yeah,
it's up there.
I think I saw it up there. The census, matter of fact, they extended the date too.
Yeah, they did.
So you could, but the census, man, it tells the government or justifies monetary allocations to cities based upon your geographical information, right? So if you have a larger sample size of citizens that are in your city, the more allocations, and it justifies certain programs, certain money that goes to. So you look at like the government will say, well, Portsmouth gets this percent allocation over Norfolk, or Norfolk gets this over Virginia Beach when they pass these big these appropriation bills, because that's where it really, when the Senate and the House of Representatives pass the appropriation bills, all that justification, like the data, comes from the census.
Right.
Like a senator can say, "Yo, give me the demographic in Portsmouth of black folks that live in there as opposed to Chesapeake," because I want to make a bill that says I want to have money go directly to black families, and I want it to go to cities with majority black families. That information they get from the census.
Yep.
So if we don't do it,
That's right. And
It's
not
like-
only that too, but you have to participate. Like, I do contracts, so I know about certain things. But before I did contracts, I took a lot of classes
Yep.
that the average business owner does not go and even seek out, because they don't get involved
Yeah.
at the local level, the state level, and so on and so forth. So when they have certain monies that come out, a lot of people don't know. Even for me to figure out the stuff that I figured out in my business, you had to be making $250,000 a year to even get the free class. Well, what about the person that's not making $250,000 a year?
Exactly.
So I mean, you got to show up and participate. So
absolutely. Yeah. So census is, if you haven't done the census, yo, do it. I don't care if you got somebody living in your house and you're not supposed to, whatever. I don't care. Do the census. That way we can start getting some monies to our communities.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
hope that answered your question, bro. But
Yeah. I just, you was getting there anyway, so
Yeah,
I want to
okay.
touch on that, get that out of the way.
Okay.
How would you say Portsmouth is unique as far as the other 7 cities in this area economically?
Portsmouth is unique because one, we call it the smallest big city in Hampton Roads. Like it's a family atmosphere in Portsmouth that is different from anywhere else, right? You can get lost in Virginia Beach, you can get lost in Norfolk. Portsmouth, everybody knows everybody.
Right.
You're connected somehow, right? Like we're connected.
Right.
You know, Mike Link, Mike,
Right,
is connected. We're connected us. So it's the good thing about it, man, is the family atmosphere in Portsmouth is the best that I don't think is any other city has it. But how do we monopolize that, right? How do we turn that into people wanting to live, work, and play in Portsmouth? One of the things that we can do that is through inclusion, right? Which really, pisses me off that, like in Virginia Beach, for example, anything against Virginia Beach, but they're building like a Black History Center in Virginia Beach, trying to. And I was pissed. I was like, yo, wait a minute. That should be in Portsmouth.
Right.
Like, and I went to City League, like, do you know how much Black history we have in Portsmouth?
Right.
So you're gonna allow Virginia Beach to monetize Black history, and that's another thing too. We gotta be careful. People like to monetize our history without acknowledging our history
Yeah.
or
Correct.
respecting us. And
Correct.
it pisses me off.
Without including us.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, so you wanna make money off Black history, but you don't want to support the people, the families from these ancestors that you're trying to make money off of, like their stories. So stuff like that in Portsmouth, we have to be strategic. We have to look at it, and y'all see the stuff in Portsmouth, man. I know y'all see it, man. You
Yeah,
know,
I got family.
Portsmouth seems very,
Drama.
very disparaged. I mean, what would you say attributes to that? I mean, it's certain things we all know, social and economic issues, but is it the people? I mean, what is it? The opportunities? What are we missing there?
It's racism.
Yeah.
It's a deep system of racism in Portsmouth, and what they do is they hide behind policy,
Yeah.
right? They hide behind the concept that Black people will only be for a moment, right? Like last night we had a protest, and I told my team, I was like, listen, this is a moment that they were like, yo, let the Negroes make
their
a little-
moment,
you know,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah.
Let them do it, and tomorrow,
It'll be over.
Yeah.
no, sir. I plan to be at every city council meeting, every school board meeting, every freaking economic development council meeting, all that stuff. We're gonna fight it, like because now what's happening is what we seen with our brother that got the knee on his neck, which is crazy to me, is that there is legalized murder that takes
right.
place through policy.
Correct.
And I'm tired of it. I mean, I'm quite frank, like, I'm tired of that shit. I'm gonna tell you right now, they have put gasoline on the fire.
Oh yeah.
And if for me, I hope for y'all too. If I wasn't motivated before then, I'm definitely motivated now. Like I'm ready to turn over tables.
How would you encourage the regular person to keep this momentum going? Like to not just let the emotions run their course and then we go
Yeah.
back to regular life.
Yeah. First of all, we have to put a strategic agenda before it, right? So the emotions is cool, right? It should be outbursts,
Yeah.
right? But if there's no strategy behind it, it's just a moment, yo.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we're gonna be waking up. Just won't we just talking about a month, like 2 weeks
Yeah.
before? Like
Yeah.
I mean, and then here it comes, and then before that, like I can rattle off the names in Portsmouth
Right.
of black men who lost their lives behind gun violence. Police gun violence. But yeah, we have to be strategic, have an agenda, know what we want to do, be strategic about it, and then move on to the next thing, right? So it can't just be like we're losing our lives in more than one way, right? So we got to look at this and then go to the next thing. But the main thing is an agenda, right? That's how you in a movement as opposed to a moment. Like, so get involved, get in organizations like the NAACP, and look, hell, if you got skepticism with the NAACP, I got you. I would say join it first and then see how it is. But if it's not your organization, join another organization where you can advocate. You know what I mean? But I don't just advocate for something. Be out there. That's my thing.
If you have skepticism, if there's anything you need to infiltrate and could try to change or try and put your handprint on it, it should be the NAACP. You should try and get into it. If you see some things you don't like, change them yourself.
Listen,
Climb the ranks like you did and make the change.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you, I've been president for like 6 years now, and I'm 33. When I became president, I was 27, and I was like, I was the second youngest in the country, second only to Joe Dillon, who's in Norfolk. Yep. And I was like, damn. Like, I was like, oh, all right. So I got it. What am I gonna do? You know what I mean? And for 6 years, it went by fast, but I've learned to kind of use again the imagery, and we've learned together to apply it. So hopefully, I think we've done some good things so far. But you're right. You work it up and then you use it for the benefit.
How do you think we take this moment and actually create some momentum with it? Because I agree with you. Like, it'd be uproar. It's a lot of stuff going on right now that we're going to talk about later. But how do you actually take that? Now we got the eyes, we got cameras, everybody's outside, we're all protesting. It's a moment. But how do you really create it to have some momentum?
So structure is everything, right? The difference in the civil rights movement that lasted 10 years, by the way, like if you think about it, 10 years. So the civil rights movement with King and Abernathy and everybody marching and doing protests, responded, they had structure, right? So when they said stay off the buses, they stood off the buses, right? Nobody got on the bus, right? And that comes through structure. So we have to get very in technology, like being able to get to our people is the most important thing. But not just the learned of our people, the masses of our people, right? People out there that are in the streets that may not be as connected as we are. How do we get to those brothers out there and be like, yo, stay off the bus on Tuesday? Right. Then they really will feel the economic impact. So the first thing we gotta get structure, we gotta get technology, and then we gotta get to the people out there. As I said, the masses of our people, not just those of us who have
already
stepped
got
forward.
stakes in it.
Yeah, but people that are out there, man, we can't forget it. Like right now, I'm thinking in my head where I came from. I just came from the regional jail, the Hampton Roads Regional Jail, where they are warehousing black men in there because of COVID.
You've been talking about that.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, I told the superintendent straight up, I'm getting ready to tear this jail. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna get a chainsaw in a minute, and I'm gonna come to this jail but through that, we have to get to those brothers out there, like the creatives, the minds inside of jails right now that are being locked in. It's crazy. If we got to try to get them out, so we got to get to the masses of our people, wherever they are, and spread the word. I think it will make some change.
What was the climate like last night? Were there any consistent messaging going out amongst everybody last night? Yeah,
we made sure of it. We made sure that it was a consistent message. Most people were out there. I was like, first of all, we're not blowing up any buildings. Black-owned businesses down here. You know what I mean? So,
of course. Yeah,
and we met at IC Norcom, which is a historically black high school. The semblance of that was strategic. We wanted to do that. But then the message the whole time was, we asked the police chief to come out.
Okay.
She ordered us. She drove around, didn't want to... but we wanted to have this conversation with her about one in Portsmouth. I don't know if you guys know. There's something called harsh tactic techniques, right? Harsh tactic techniques says you as a police officer have the right to force greater force on somebody that you're trying to contain, right? So if you're saying you're trying to contain me and I'm going like this, and you in your judgment feel that is a threat, you have the right to put greater force on me. So that's what happened, right? So our brother, he was he wasn't even resisting, right? They put him down and he puts his knee in his neck.
And he had 2 other officers on him too.
For what, 7 minutes or 9 minutes?
9 minutes, yeah.
So if you look at policy would dictate, well, maybe there might be some discretion in there for him to have done that, right?
Yeah.
That's what legalese will say. And be careful what the district attorney said. He said, I do see some evidence where he did not violate policy, right? And then they retracted it 10 minutes later after he said it, right? But Yeah, that's how you can get things like I'm gonna put my knee on your neck and just sit there. So we got to change policies like that.
For
that was the message.
nonviolent
last night.
crime. Shit
For
crazy.
nonviolent crime, man.
Well, after they beat him up,
Right.
because that came out yesterday too, right? Did y'all see
Right.
that when they beat him up in the car?
And I think wasn't he like unresponsive down there for like 2 minutes?
Yeah, they said he was unconscious
Yeah.
for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Right. 9 minutes, yo. Over 9 minutes of just sitting there and dying.
And the thing about him putting his hand in his pocket to put more pressure on
Yep.
discreetly. So
It's a very ironic thing because you were saying, I think y'all have been in since 1909, you said? And that's a long time for any organization, period. And we have a very long-standing history of legislative just not being represented. You're talking about the Constitution and all these old forefather laws. I mean, we've changed so much in the last, I'll be 40 years old this year. So
What?
the internet came out when I was 13. So you're talking about this is the fastest besides, the 7 days the earth was built, that it has transpired to where we are. We got technology, we got cryptocurrency, we got other stuff. So I rarely hear anybody talking about going back fundamentally to the basis, the Constitution, the rules, the laws, to change those. It's not possible that you can write a law in the 1800s that still applies today. How? Where?
I see what you're saying.
So we have to really combat that. What would you say to our viewers about getting involved? Because a lot of times we'll get involved, we'll march, we'll go protest, we'll bomb stuff, but we don't get into the paperwork.
Yep.
And the devil's always in the details. So what can we do to get involved legislatively in that regard?
So example, right? So putting in the context of what we're dealing with today, we want a citizens review board to have subpoena authority, right? That means citizens can be able to subpoena documents when it comes to officers shooting our people, right? Here's the challenge with that. Cities have what they call charters. Charters are controlled by the General Assembly. So you can't have a citizens review, a true one, because the charter says it has to be done this way. So we have to change the charter.
Right.
How do we
We
do
have
that?
to go we got to go to the General Assembly in January. And first we got to get City Council to put it on the agenda. And then from there, we have to get legislators to approve the charter change.
How do we do that?
So the first thing we do, one is we got to have representation, okay? So we got to make sure that we have people that are in office that are advocating for us, right, and our issues. The second thing is we got to show up at that damn General Assembly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it comes to our issues, you have like maybe, let's say you have another issue like disabilities. They have like 20,000 people. But when it comes to criminal justice reform, 5, 6, 10 people going up. I mean, they're not paying attention to that.
Oh, wow.
We got to tell them, listen, matter of fact, we're going to occupy the General Assembly.
Yeah.
You're not going to do anything until you address us.
Right.
Until you get this charter change, we're not doing anything, right?
Right.
But it all starts from us being registered to vote. You can't participate because that's what they listen to. Your vote is your currency to them, right?
Thank you, brother. I thought you wasn't going to say vote because I've been telling them
Yeah.
to vote for 10 years now.
You gotta vote, yo. You
We
gotta vote. You gotta
But
vote.
Chris and them always have a good point on one of our questions is how do we begin to groom our own government officials? Because most of the time, like, we'll be talking about voting. We just had our local elections or whatever, and they don't know who we're voting for. They're not our people. All you see is a whole bunch of names. They don't campaign like a New York, like where they're out in the streets and we got to see them all the time. So how do we groom our own officials and really get people in there that we want to be behind that will get us to the polls, that'll get us to the General Assembly? How do we do that?
Yeah, well, I think like for example, elected official. First thing we got to get out of this is this hierarchical system where in politics where we deem you appropriate. You go through some things and because you've done your due, now you deserve to be a senator. Or now you deserve. No, we need to start having people like us. We need to start getting the reins. So strategically, I'll say, look, I got a brother that started a podcast, right? That's dope.
Thanks, man.
And he understands legislation and policy. Put him on the ballot.
Right.
I got a sister that is doing minority, that's killing the game in terms of contracts. Put her on economic development board. You know what I mean? Like, let her run for House of Delegate, right?
Right.
But the challenge that we have is, and I'm gonna say this, controversial. I really don't care. Republicans and Democrats, I really don't. The Democratic Party has a lot of issues within it, right? If you look at the Democratic Party, it used to be called Dixiecrats, right? The South, that Dixiecrat mentality sometimes is still there, where you have these policies in which they're not allowing certain people from the outside to be inside the party. So we got to be careful with that.
Good Boys Club.
Yeah. But we gotta make sure, one, I think how we, in terms of grooming them, I think we gotta look at their background first, and then when they do get in there, we gotta hold them accountable. How do you hold them accountable? One, through voting, but you gotta start being structured and organized. So this is what I did with the NAACP, right? So we didn't have an age war inside of it, where you got the older people versus the younger people. So I said everybody can contribute to the movement. Older members, y'all are retired at home, right? So this is what I need you to do. I need you to call the senator on this bill, and all I need is 5 minutes. I just want you to call her and say, hey, listen, I'm 77 years old. I'm in the NAACP. I expect you to vote this way. Now, if I can get 100 people, 100 of our older members to do it in whatever time that you have, that senator's like, damn, they NAACP, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
We're not playing.
I got
Yeah.
called, like, I better do something because I'm getting, I got younger people killing me. I got the older people killing me. You know what I mean? So to hold them accountable, we get structured, we get organized, and then we utilize our platform to hold them accountable, right? So that they don't forget where they come from. Because you'll get in politics and you'll forget.
We got to utilize our dollar too.
Oh, God.
Right.
Like these politicians need funding as well, so we need
Yeah.
to make sure
Absolutely.
we have our money centralized to the point we can bankroll them as well.
Absolutely. That's another thing too. Like, money in politics is key, but again, collectively we can change that.
Yeah.
Yep.
B Mike has been on super dry back
Well,
there.
we had some technical difficulties.
I wanted to ask you a personal question because I was talking to you before we went on. Your mother worked in criminal, like the criminal justice field.
Yep.
How has that affected how you maneuver in your job now? Like as far as your understanding of
Oh, a lot,
living
man.
with her.
My mom was a sheriff in the Portsmouth Sheriff Department, so I knew already internally how some things that work. But my cousin's also in the Norfolk Police Department too. So it's kind of, and let me say this for the record, nobody's talking about this, but I've seen this out there now about the whole good cop versus bad cop thing. So you gotta be careful that we don't confuse good personality with good cop. Right, somebody can be a good person and a horrible cop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
true.
and that's the thing. No, but nobody's talking about it in the stance of, hey, it's bad cop. Nobody said generally that every cop is bad. Nobody has said that. No writer has said that. But we got to start to kind of parse the difference between personality and officer, right? So my mom's awesome, right? My mom was great. My cousin's great. But in terms of the law enforcement, like, we got to start looking at it through different lenses. So it helped, her being in the sheriff department, helped me kind of see person. There's a person
See the
behind
person
it.
through the
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
there's a
Uniform.
person there. You don't have to always attack them, but I can attack what you do
Right.
in that seat and officer. You know
Right.
what I mean? That's what I can attack.
What's your stance on, because, the boys in blue,
Yep.
their brotherhood, just like
Yeah.
people on the football team, if you go to war with somebody, that's your brother while
Right.
you on that field. And
Right.
police take the same, attitude.
As they should.
Right. So it's kind of a situation where if one of them does something, it looks bad on all of them. And then it becomes a divide because it's like, well, they're them and they got to be protected and make it home to their families too. But then you got regular people out here and it just becomes like us against them. What's your stance on, like you just said, there's good cops, bad cops, good people, bad people. But trying to infiltrate that system to where, okay, if this police does something, regardless if he's in the brotherhood or not, he has to be reprimanded. But then you have that nucleus kind of like protecting him because the image doesn't want to be kind of tainted. So how can we, they got internal affairs and all that kind of stuff, but how can we kind of work towards getting some resolution in that?
You're right. That cold blue thing is strong, yo.
Yeah.
It's strong. And sometimes brothers will get into the department, and this is why I've told black officers this, right? It's okay to point out something that's wrong or what's going on in the police department. It's an intimidation tactic, right?
Right.
So they'll get in there and they'll be like, yo, this is a brotherhood. Don't say nothing. But the lieutenant just called that dude a trunk monkey, right? That's what happened in Portsmouth, yo. Just to bring it back, like, we had a lieutenant call another officer, hey, trunk monkey, put this in my trunk. Right? Like, what? So what do you do in that moment? Do I do cold blue or am I a black man in America?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, when you take that uniform off, who are you? I'm a black man in America. That's who you are.
Right.
Don't let that uniform define who you are. Like, I don't allow the NAACP to define. I don't go around and say, hey, you know, my name's James Boyd, I'm president. Nah, my name's James Boyd. I'm a black man in America
James
because
Boyd
that's
first.
where I came out. You know what I mean? And yes, I am the president of the NAACP because I do not want a symbol to represent who I am. I'm a person. You know what I mean? And so that's why I tell them, you're a person. You're a black man. You're a black sister in America. That's how you came out. And that's an occupation. Yes, it's a brotherhood. You got some that fraternal part of it too, but don't forget who you are. But it's real. It's real. It's extremely real. How we combat it is through accountability, in my opinion. Like,
It definitely touches back on code too. 'Cause a lot of people don't even know that like the police chief is like the officials in most states, like
Yeah.
mayors and stuff. So
Yeah.
you don't have a chief that's not gonna call out.
That mic is faced this way.
Go get that.
Too late.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
you
no,
good.
no, it's good stuff,
We
bro.
appreciate your
We just want you to
tidbit.
get
Yeah.
Right.
You just gotta flip it around. Be a pro.
no, you're right, bro.
How do y'all feel about just the origins of policing in this country? Since we,
1909.
yeah,
Do we
we
want to
getting
talk about
deep
it?
out
We want
here.
to talk
So,
about it. I'm just saying.
I mean,
Listen.
that still, that
that's
still
known.
runs deep in there.
That's known. I think it's our sense of belonging that message that
I don't
goes
know if
into.
it's known by us.
Say it
I don't know
again
if
for
it's
the
known.
people.
I think it's our sense of belonging because when we have pride in our community, we'll have pride in ourselves. So when I go join the police force, I'll have more pride in who I am as a person, and I won't just run to I'm a police officer. And that's why they put that before their blackness. You know what I'm saying? Because they look at their community, it's like, look at where I come from. Look at this. I'm a policeman now. So they hold it higher than who they really are, and
Well,
that's what creates issues.
It's
lot of
identity
people do
crisis.
that with their
Yeah,
jobs,
it's
though.
identity crisis.
Yeah.
You don't really understand the origins of who you are, right? And that's why you gotta join organizations like the NAACP to understand that. That's why you gotta research and understand and listen to words and go back and hear so you get it. I tell my nephew all the time, hey, listen, you're 10 years old. At this point, you should be really defining like what is black man? Like what is that? What is my ancestry? Who am I? Like go into different things about your history, different words. You should be doing that. All of us should be doing that, right? Because you're getting there. Now, let me say this for the record too. There are black officers in departments in Hampton Roads and Portsmouth, another way, that are standing up for what's right. I don't want to.
course.
I've
They're
seen it.
standing up. They're doing what's right. They will condemn what's going on right now. So to them, because a lot of them have reached out to me just publicly saying, "Listen, I understand what's going on." But at the same token, we just gotta remember who we are. At the end
Man,
of the day.
that's what a brotherhood is about. That's why I don't really buy into that. Oh, this is a brotherhood, so we're not gonna do nothing. If I'm gonna check my brother first.
Facts.
Like I'm gonna care less about what somebody else does. If we a
Facts.
brotherhood and you
Then I
doing
should be
something
able to-
wrong,
yeah.
I should be able to check you.
Right.
I don't know where it was. I think it was in New York. They had the police, the former cops. They were saying that they had pressure to put more brown and black people in jail. Anyways, that's the thing. Prisons make
Oh, for sure.
billions and trillions of dollars off of
We're an
inmates.
easy pickup.
Right.
Easy
Then you
pickup.
got legislative because the rules are not for us. You got a lot of judges in pockets, and that's a very real thing. Like we see it in the movies, and we don't think it's true, but it's always a truth in every little lie. So it's just the whole system has to really be reframed.
Well, you know how judges are appointed,
Yep.
right? In Virginia,
Right.
Yep.
They go through the Senate. They go through a committee, judicial committee, right? That committee is controlled by politicians. So politicians go around and say, "Oh, I'm looking for my next judges."
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, and then it's all kind of connected
To
you
push
know?
that
To push
agenda,
Yeah.
right.
Now, I'm not saying be careful. There are integral judges. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I'm not saying that, but yeah, it's connected, yo. It's connected. That's why we gotta have people in positions that are elected because they do more than just be a senator. Like they control a lot of part of our lives.
Going back to your point earlier about getting people involved, like him or me or whoever, it seems like also, I'm not gonna lie, like it has to be, you got younger people, you got technology, so information is being spread faster, so time is gonna speed up. I feel like a lot of times people, it's just not cool. Like, politics is like, oh, my grandma in politics. Like, I ain't doing that. I don't really see too many. What about celebrities? Do you guys have a lot of involvement from them, like to push,
Yeah, like so we did it like you guys know we do the Image Awards every year, right? And they all come and we push the CEO and others in national leaders like, yo, get them involved in local branches, right? You know how powerful it would be if I could call a celebrity and be like, yo, we're marching next week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know how many people would get them on the local level. It's cool they come to the Image Awards, but
Right.
if you're
Yeah, we
not
saw
really
Rihanna.
Right.
Listen, if I could get Rihanna in Portsmouth, y'all, oh my God.
You have everybody out
Oh my
there.
God! If I can get that, man, we arresting people to vote like crazy. You know, but the problem is that we're not that granular yet. You know, in the NAACP, and I'll be honest, like it's we're trying to work on that to bring the power of the national office to the local scene. You know, so
Do y'all use social media any?
we do. We do. So, like our branch, we're definitely doing a lot of social media. The national office has a big social media, Facebook, Instagram. So we got a whole department that's dedicated to it now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What about the checks and balances? I think for me, it's always like the people up here who are in charge. Who's checking them? And that's where everything goes left. Because if you're exempt, who's checking you? So I know for me personally, input I get from people is like, well, I ain't voting no way because it's all rigged anyway.
Yeah, that's always.
And you know, locally, state level, we just saw with the Russians with the whole presidential election. So in terms of just fairness, you know what I mean? Like, are there checks and balances in place to make sure that the votes are truly counted?
Listen, I don't, not to the point to where it needs to be, right? So there's a lot of things about voter suppression, and that's real, right? So there's a lot of things that are designed to keep us from actually voting.
Right.
I think the vote is the highest accountability level we have in terms of like politics, right? That's like when Diddy was saying, look, hold your vote hostage. I feel what he was saying, but at the same token, I was like, yo, so let's hold a hostage with a purpose, but use it, right? So if I'm hungry and I got $1 in my pocket, right, and you're telling me I'm hungry, don't use the dollar. Eventually, I'm gonna use that dollar, to give me something to eat, right? So I'm like, strategically, we just gotta be strategic with how we're utilizing the vote. But I think the highest accountability, is us voting, and if we really come together, like look what Black women did are doing in these elections. Like, literally, Black women are controlling the political agenda through the vote because the vote numbers are so high, So if we could kind of join that collectively, we could really change the political scene. Really.
Have you considered running for any other offices? I don't even know. Can you run for any other offices?
I could. I mean, honest, I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I honestly, like, I don't wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I aspire to a political office. I don't. Like, I probably would be the last person. I'm like, listen, I got a background, you know what I mean? Somebody about to pour that out on me or something like that.
Yeah.
But everybody has it, right?
has
I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I've thought about it. But honestly, like right now, my main focus is our people, the movement, and I don't think I could do it integrally with, like, if I'm thinking about the next political office, I might be like, oh, let me not go out there. Because somebody might get it and put it on paper. That might hurt my political chances. You know what I mean? So
Cookie cutter.
my thing is, if it happens down the road, it happens, but I'm not thinking about it. Because if I think about it, it would blur my judgment.
What about personally? Anytime you're helping people, it's a thing. Like, energy is coming at you. People need help. How do you deal with it personally, just in your personal life?
So it's like last night I was up until about 4, talking about. There's somebody that was arrested last night, and families will call us and be like, yo, what's going on? I feel it's my responsibility to hear those families, because a lot of times we're the only thing that they have, right? They're like, listen, it's like the back signal that goes up, right? NAACP, you got to come help me, you know? And I feel like our obligation to listen to that, see what we can do. So it affects me personally, because you don't get a lot of sleep. You don't rest a lot. But at the end of the day, it's so rewarding that it kind of just, I think about personal when I get done with this. But right now, it's like our people need
help.
Right. They need somebody to be an advocate. So
Have you
I don't
ever
think
thought
about it as much, but I need to.
Have you ever thought about running for a different kind of office? Or
Yeah,
a kind of office?
We already asked that.
Literally.
I did.
Just
That's
ask
what he
me.
just answered.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
Look,
so
Ron is like, look.
your seat. Does the appointment last for a certain term, or how does that work?
So we got, as presidents, we have 2-year terms. So every 2 years I run. The members vote, who are members of the branch.
Oh, so you're doing a good job.
So what's your campaign look like, bro?
I'm trying.
You got slogans and stuff?
Yeah.
Not really.
I'm about to say,
Listen-
what's the slogan, bro?
Yeah, no, I'm actually up this year, actually.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I'm up-
really? So how can we get behind you and help?
Listen,
push you?
you can join. That's the first thing. Join the Portsmouth NAACP. And then from there, you can vote. The vote will probably be in November. And I'll be honest with you, what happens is politicians get smart. To keep James Boyd off the scene, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go buy a lot of memberships in the NAACP. And we're going to give them out, and then we're going to get those people to come in, right?
Of course.
So, and that's being honest. That's something that as the NAACP we're addressing, that we can't have that, so that's coming down. But
Well, can we do the same?
we could. I
I
mean,
can
we could,
sponsor
right? We could.
20 slots
Right.
or so.
We could.
I was gonna say, what's the
I mean,
membership
yeah.
process like?
Yeah, it's just you just join for $30, and then you become a member. And you can be
And
a
we
pretty
do-
seamless.
he sent
Yeah.
the link, but
I
other
already
than,
did it.
Yeah,
Pretty
you have to
simple.
do it within a certain time too. I think you have to do it by. I'll send it to you guys. You have to do it by July. You have to be a member. Anybody past July, you can't participate in the election. But here's the thing, yo, and I tell my team this all the time. I'm being genuine. I'm not focused on like my presidency. I'm focused, and I don't want them to focus on that. I believe if we do what we're supposed to do, we'll be all right. You know what I mean? And I'm not arrogant enough to say if James Boyd is not the president, then it's
We're
not
not
gonna
gonna get nowhere.
Nah.
Yeah, yeah,
If I'm not president of WSP, I'm gonna be a black man in Portsmouth. I'm gonna be advocating. I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm gonna be stopping. So, yes, it would be nice to to be in the position, but at the end of the day, if it wasn't there, I'll still do what I'm doing.
So professionally, if you weren't doing this, because like, do y'all have other jobs outside of this?
Oh,
or-
absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know how that works.
Yeah, we do. So it doesn't. That's why it's a sacrifice. Everybody can't do it because you give your time, you
Yeah.
give a lot. But it's good, man. It's the most rewarding experience I've ever had. Really.
Okay.
what are the main focuses of the NAACP
Mm-hmm.
today versus
20 years ago.
20 years ago, 40 years ago, 100
Yeah.
years ago.
yeah?
Like, how does it look different?
So, really, we have 5 pillars: is political, economic, what we call social justice, education, and then the last pillar is what we call direct action, which is how do you turn protests into actual results, right? Because we get that, right? I know y'all seen it on Facebook. I've gotten it already. Protests, now what? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
what's next?
Yeah.
So in NAACP, we're working on those pillars, really more like political. So the NAACP is a 501c3, but what we've done now is branches are going to be 501c4s, which gives us the ability to be more politically engaged locally.
That's your
right?
empowerment program?
It's so it allows us the flexibility. Like right now, like I can't endorse candidates. Like some other presidents have different perspectives on it. I don't endorse candidates because you might have black folks members that are for a different candidate, and I don't like to split us. I believe the NAACP should be an advocacy organization regardless of who you're supporting. But now what we're able to do, we're able to now engage more in like political debate, forums, debates, all that stuff. We're able to really get entrenched in that locally. And so that's something that is a lot different from 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we were like, we don't do politics at all.
Oh, wow.
But in the facet of we don't endorse candidates, we endorse issues, right? But now what we're learning,
Is you kind of can't not get involved.
Yeah,
You
you
Yeah.
have to get involved.
not at that level. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to really understand like candidates, really push them to the carpet. Yes, issues, but then also too look the importance. The most powerful person in elected office locally, a Commonwealth attorney. Those elections are like huge.
They
like
stop everything.
they are.
Commonwealth stops everything.
Oh my God! Listen, Commonwealth attorney can lock you up. We're seeing it right now,
Will
right?
lock you up.
Or they can not lock you up,
Facts.
like what we're seeing in Minnesota, where you have somebody that murders somebody on camera, and it takes 6-7 days for them to be arrested. You go out there and murder somebody right now, and it's on camera. In 30 minutes, you will be downtown, right, locked up.
If
But-
I run a red light and they want
run a red light,
give me a warrant,
You're
they'll
gonna
come
be
get me.
locked up.
I've
Yeah,
had the
man.
police come to my house over some traffic stuff. Like it was SWAT
Ran
outside.
over somebody?
No, like on some. A matter of fact, last year this time, my mom just passed. I missed a court date. I wasn't home, but like 3 officers was like outside my house looking around. I turned myself in, and I remember I hit up Elliot like, "Yo, what should I do? I don't know what to do." They were like peeking through the door. They was about to go in my house, all over traffic,
That's when you call me, bro.
all over traffic, bro.
Yeah, this is a good person to know.
For real, they would
Like,
lock
yeah,
you over
wait
that
a
kind of
minute.
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the boycott they're trying to do for July 7th. Are
Oh,
you
yeah, I
guys
wanted
getting
to ask you
involved
about
with that or?
The blackout. Yeah. I don't know why we're waiting till July 7th.
I don't
Let's
know
do it
either. It
tomorrow.
should be every day. Like, what you talking
Let's
about?
do it tomorrow. Yeah, but definitely. Like
That's the same thing I said when I saw it. I was like, why we waiting until the 7th?
Why
All
we
right.
waiting?
For my viewers that don't know nothing about what y'all talking
Oh,
about.
sorry. You,
So go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah.
A blackout is pretty much on July 7th. They're calling for us to hold our economic power, right? I think one is to see how powerful it really is, which I'm hoping that's what's come from it. But it is like a protest on what's going on in terms of Black lives. So that's on July 7th. So I think we're pushing not to buy anything so that we can really see the
That's
power
right.
of the black dollar. So
It won't be
that's on
hard
July
during quarantine.
no. And
It
we
shouldn't be hard.
Well,
Amazon, unless you look at.
Didn't Kanye one time say don't go buy nothing at Louis Vuitton in Atlanta one time, and he like lost mad money. Like, and that was just
That's power.
Kanye.
That's
You know what
powerful.
I'm saying? But since how do you really feel about the looting, the riots? Let's get into that. We about 45 minutes in. Let's
Okay.
really get into it. I want to hear all y'all's thoughts on just looting. One, riots. Like, there's different ways to protest. I know people feel differently about it, so I want to hear you first, and then we get the room.
Yeah, I don't. Let me say this, I understand the expression, right? So this is uprising, and in uprising, things like this happen, right? And this country is not. We didn't start the uprising or the rioting,
No.
right? And we're
White people
talking
have been looting America their whole life.
hello.
I mean, like the concept of America, so I don't want to. I want to be cautious not to like condemn certain
Yeah, this is a
actions because I
dicey topic.
understand it, but at the same token, I'm like, when y'all go and blow up black businesses though, and loot
Listen
black
to this.
businesses, like I'm like, yo, go downtown to, you know what I mean, where there's and steal that.
You
know
say
what I
Sally
mean?
Mae?
Yeah, like
Just go in there and smash all the computers.
but y'all destroying resources in our community.
Yeah, they are.
Like that doesn't make any. That to me, I'm like, yo, that's when you don't have the strategy. And believe it or not, it's not. A lot of times, not black folks doing it. It's
Oh, no, it's a
radical
lot.
people.
We saw that.
We've seen
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
anarchists
Yeah.
getting.
They want to get locked up.
Yeah.
It was the cops sparking
Right.
it off.
Coin
There was a
Tell Pro.
YouTuber
Yo,
that
we wanna
was.
talk about that?
There's a YouTuber like he got millions of subscribers. He was looting just for content.
What?
White
I'm done.
dude.
There's planet anarchists out there
Yeah.
that are just doing stuff just
But
to
the
do
new-
it, just to
no
to
shade.
spice it.
The news is kind of geared to catch us looting, make us
Right.
look like
It's
we're
like- right.
burning the city down and
Yeah.
steal. Y'all gotta stop stealing sneakers, bro.
We can't we can't
It's
we
hurting
can't fall
my
into
spirit.
those hands though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't fall. Listen, media. No offense. They're good people in media, right? And there's good people, right?
Yes.
Right. But here's the thing: they report to producers. The producers report to somebody else. They report to somebody that owns a station that has some type of political agenda, right? And so when they look at it and they're trying to distract us off message, what distracts off message? Let's do black people looting. Hey, and forward that message because that's what's going to be out there, right? Now, that's not the case everywhere, but it's absolutely. They're not telling the story that it's not us destroying these buildings, yo.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of NAACP presidents I've seen out there like, yo, wait a minute. Don't arrest us for something they're doing. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. We didn't destroy that building, yo. You know what I
they
mean?
want
Like
they
that.
want you to do that, man. Chaos has a lot.
CNN reporter, the black reporter that got arrested on live TV.
Yes,
All right.
yes, in Minnesota.
Listen.
Yeah.
Which just shows me the extent of how. If you're gonna arrest somebody that's a CNN reporter, and you really don't care, and he was like, listen, he's on live TV.
Yeah.
He was being very,
Yeah.
just like,
Compliant.
But you know what it shows? It shows that you deal with racism in your industry too. You know what I mean? And it's
everywhere.
underlying. And I know what you guys deal with. And that's the thing. Like, how are you gonna arrest this man on live TV when he's showing his badge? I'm credentialed, right? Which the better picture of us is. We can have degrees, we can be doctors, we can be lawyers, we can be an attorney, and it doesn't mean that you're exempt from racism, right? That's the bigger picture. But it was crazy to me. I was baffled. I was like, listen, this thing is getting real when they're arresting CNN reporters.
They didn't want them there because they're doing stuff they're not supposed to, like shooting at people and slamming females and doing all kind of crazy stuff. Yeah, we don't want you there.
That's right. That's
We want this image. We don't want this.
Yeah.
they had literally just arrested someone on live TV right before they arrested the reporter.
Yeah. But that's what supremacists is. I say this often. You guys remember that movie 300?
Of course.
When at the end, Leonidas was like, told the guy, go back and tell them, remember us, right? So that we will not, so Xerxes won't be like, your history will be erased, nobody will ever know.
Right.
Media archives. That's why King said, let them see us being attacked by dogs. Let it be shown that the water hose is being sprayed on us, because we're going to prick the consciousness of America. And when you see that, when reporters are out there doing that, and when they're out there showing it, it pricks the conscience. It gets white people thinking, wait a minute, yo, this is wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not just something that black folk, no, this is crazy. So they arrest them. But there's a bigger agenda towards that too.
I wanted to ask you, because the NAACP usually, mostly focuses on discrimination and inclusion and all those things, and that's an important component. But also, how is that key to us building our own and mainly like getting our own stuff, our own things to be inside of our own society? How do those work hand in hand as far as like inclusion in this, but also over here we building something that we gonna be able to live within?
Yeah, like I example, what if we got at least 60 people not to spend that stimulus check, $1,200, and we actually created a community investment firm where community builds community, right? Where we invest in us, and then your return on your investment can be greater because you'll get bigger returns from investing in community. That's how we can start doing it. We got to be strategic about it, right? So instead of spending that money, let's go invest in. Let's go build a. Nipsey was a brilliant. Like Nipsey was brilliant, and I don't think people really understood like the economic mind that he had when he was building that corner store. Like he was looking at generational wealth. Like, and even in Portsmouth, like we have a corridor that was all black owned back in the 60s and 70s, like a corridor. Well, it got destroyed when the city started doing eminent domain and stuff like that.
Is it High Street?
That's down there by High Street. Like once you cross, we call it the other side of the tracks. Once you know, literally it was.
Cross
It
London.
literally it was. I mean, it was the white side and the black side. As soon as you cross over to the black side on High Street, it was a corridor right there that was black owned. And so what we're trying to do in the NAACP is work with economic development to bring that back, right?
Okay.
And to say, hey, listen, let's build a corridor where it's black business owners or people that want to start stores in the area. Let's start doing that, but we gotta start to invest our own money though, like you said.
You make me feel bad, bro.
Why?
Me and my girl was looking at houses, and we went out Portsmouth, and we was like, we want to live in Portsmouth.
No, man.
I feel
know it's out
bad,
there,
bro.
man. Listen,
I feel.
Portsmouth,
It was a bigger house, single family. It ain't had no garage.
I got
but-
some friends that live out there. They got really nice houses, but it's in impoverished areas.
Yeah. Listen, man. I have a nice house in the area. So I'm from Prentice Park, right? My grandma still on Evergreen Street. That's home for me, right? And I'm glad that I'm there because it just feels like home. But Portsmouth was on the up and up, yo.
Yeah.
We're on the
We gotta
up
lift
and
it up.
I
We
was
gotta lift
born
it
in
up.
Portsmouth. My daughter's gonna be born in Portsmouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but bro, listen.
I'm gonna buy some cribs and we're gonna like have some rental properties or something in Portsmouth. But
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
I,
Build back in your
I could
community.
not. I was like, the golf course right here, but nah.
It's nice over there in Newtown, man.
Yeah, we was over there. I was like,
it's nice,
nah.
man.
I was like,
and that
no
air is going to
garage.
come up.
Yeah, I told her that, but we couldn't see the vision through. I was like,
Bro, I'm done.
I feel bad now. I'm like, brother got me
Y'all sit
feeling.
down with me. We'll cast the vision, man. But it really depends on us, right? So I'm not looking at politics. I'm looking at community. I know that we can build it
Thank
up. I
you.
know it's coming up, yo. It's
Thank
gonna
you.
come up. We're gonna build Portsmouth up.
We
It's
got
a great
to.
city.
It's ironic because you look at High Street, the history of High Street, but a lot of the owners are not black.
Yeah,
You know, so it's like we got to do something here. We got to do something.
some nice apartments down there too.
And
By Roger Brown's and stuff.
yeah, all
Yeah,
through
yeah.
there.
That's a nice area out there.
Yeah.
Nice
Let me
area
shout
to
out
live in.
Sunshine too. Sunshine is the only. She's a black sister who is the only one down there, the only black owned business down there, and she owns the building.
Right.
So
A
she's
lot of them
lit.
don't
Yeah,
own
it.
right.
She
She
big lit.
owns the
Yeah.
building. So we got to protect her.
How has Waterside affected y'all? Has it affected y'all positively, or is it?
Because they didn't do it right. So my thing was, use Waterside to your advantage. That whole water area could be like a huge economic boom, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, listen, don't fight it. Because we got the best view in Portsmouth. You get to see Norfolk.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got the great view. We got
Yeah.
the advantage.
Yeah.
Like, we got the view. But use it so people can have an alternative. What would it look like if you could take the ferry from Norfolk and Portsmouth and have a whole different scene and advertise yourself? The problem with Portsmouth is we don't have an identity. We got to create an identity around inclusion, diversity, and then saying, listen, we're the best alternative out there. Look, we're not competing with North Virginia Beach. We can't. But I'm gonna tell you what we can do. We have an identity. When you come to Portsmouth, you know you're gonna get X, Y, Z. We're gonna turn up. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and it's gonna be a different variance from what you're getting in other cities. We gotta create that identity and then promote it out there, and that's the problem. But that whole water corridor, it affected us because we're not doing anything yet with it, and we're not doing it strategically. And some people on council don't know how to do that, right? So you got this old. Let's just build like a little gazebo and be a little park.
Yeah,
Nah, bro, they're not coming to that.
They
You know what I
gonna
mean?
walk right over that.
Like Armada Hoffler, like they tried to come and do these huge things, but city council will not approve it because they don't want change. A lot of them, you know, they're stuck in their ways, whatever, what have you. And these developers, they want to come. It's not like they don't have offers.
Waterfront
But
property
the
is
city
It's
council-
primo.
always good.
Yeah, they're not. And I'll be honest with you, like some
That's
of
a
that.
good point.
Yeah, some of that is me blocking like I'm out of hospital because I want economic development, but who is it for? You know what I mean? Like I want it to be
Okay.
inclusive,
Okay.
everybody be around it. I don't want where you got a Waterside, and I'll put a Waterside out too. Waterside has a certain demographic that could. They have
Yeah.
certain bands that don't allow certain things to come
Yeah.
in. You know what I mean? And we're working with them to try to expand that, right? To say, listen. If you have it more diverse, you get a lot more people coming in. But that's something we can do in Portsmouth. We can create.
I'm gonna
our
secure
identity.
this loan and come over there, man. I got you.
He just
bro.
don't want to live there. He want to come
live there.
live that's there. He wanna live there.
No,
okay.
it's what's it? It's a building that they renovated. It used to be, I don't know what it used to be, but the ferry come right up to the building, and there's some apartments up there. And I went and looked, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this
fire.
is kind of fire. But then I was like, I could just stay in Norfolk though. I was like, no, but now I feel bad. I'm like, damn, I have mad opportunities living in sports. I was like,
Yeah, we gotta infiltrate, man.
We got to
We gotta
infiltrate. Like I
What
said,
you
there's
change the
developers
tempo.
out there that want to do it, and we got to be strategic. And you can't have when you get the drama and stuff, when you're not investing in your city, you're not investing in education, you're not investing. They're like, whoa, wait a minute, I ain't going in that. I'll go to Norfolk.
Yeah, you
I'm
can't
good.
blame them. You can't blame them.
Yeah, so we got to get our act together.
Let me ask you this, because I know personally, I used to get my hair done in Portsmouth like a lot, right on High Street. But I feel like it's a lot of myths about Portsmouth in general. So what are like 3 positives so we could kind of dispel those myths that we may not even know about
Good
Portsmouth
question.
as a whole? I think that's very important to highlight.
Absolutely. So it came out some years that Portsmouth is the most generous city in Hampton Roads.
Oh, wow.
Meaning on issues, we give more on issues in our community or any other issue, whether it be given to kids or per capita than any other city, right? So Portsmouth has a heart that other cities don't, right? It's so communal, like I said. Like for me, when I go into a church or a building, I don't say, "Hey, I'm James." I can say, "Hey, I'm James. I'm president of the NAACP here in Portsmouth." But if I say, "I'm James. I'm Velma's grandson. My uncle is Ray," so and so,
Somebody
like,
knows somebody in your family, that's right.
You good? You get the pass. Come on in.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of environment that we got in Portsmouth that is different from everywhere else. Like imagine raising your kids in that.
Right.
And your kids have
Yeah.
like that's so dope, and it's an old pastime that's not there.
Yeah.
That's important. The other two is this opportunity. It's uncharted territory, right? And it's just itching for us to come in and
risk,
be
no
like,
reward.
no risk, no reward. And the other cities you don't have a lot. Like Norfolk is pretty much.
Yeah.
Now in Portsmouth, a lot of it is owned by like federal. You got a lot of federal stuff in it that control a lot of land, right?
Yeah.
But it's plenty of opportunity. Like it's an
It is.
opportunity. So I would say the myth is it's family driven. It's not violence, and it's not this big negative thing out there. It's so much opportunity out there, despite what people think. And then it's on the come up. Like we have nowhere to go but up in Portsmouth.
Right.
Like so, it's good. We just got to collectively decide what kind of city do we want to be.
Right.
Right.
Do you think the tolls played a role in that? Obviously, like now you're charging people to cross.
Shit, I have
over
a
into
whole
Portsmouth.
theory on that. I have a whole theory on that
That
shit.
was a big thing
Let's
that
talk
even-
about
It was a
that.
big thing.
Yeah, let's talk about
And
that.
it just goes up every year. It's going to get to the point where, I mean, even as a reporter, our station's in Portsmouth, I'm paying $100 a month just to get to and from work.
See that?
So it's like, at what point, like, how do you feel about that, obviously?
I think it's oppressive. And I don't think it's ironic that they put the toll in the 2 majority black cities in Hampton Roads. And are also, and there's other tolls around, but the downtown is where they're getting the bang for their buck.
It would be different if that money was being funneled into you guys.
So we're trying to work with, but the problem is they got a 50-year contract.
Yeah.
Like, and it's
And
like,
every
It
year.
happens.
and every year it's incremental. And I'm like, so how did the general, how did we allow? So you have Bob McDonnell, who's the Republican governor at the time, and he passes this contract to pay for transportation. bro, put a penny on there. Like,
Yeah,
but
it
y'all
didn't have
got
to be.
y'all got these janks where you're paying, and here's where they get the money. Be late on them janks.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. The
You
late
see what I
fees
mean?
is what
Yeah,
ate you
yeah.
up.
It was what kid, and I'm
Get
like,
an easy pass,
It's
man.
like a $25 late
$2.
fee on a $3, $5
Yeah.
toll. Like what?
and then
And they would stop you. They stopped me from when I was getting my new car.
Well, I had a thing in the news about that. When
Yeah,
it went
they don't
like
play no games.
decrease some of the
No,
people's
we're
stuff.
gonna get our money.
They be like,
Yeah.
you want this car, bro?
And listen, we tried to sue him. We tried to sue him. Like we were trying to do it from the basis of the Commerce Clause. Like you're preventing people from going to work.
Yeah.
Like it's prohibitive. I met somebody, a sweet lady, man, works hard. She owed $32,000. I said $32,000.
That's abusive. That's abusive.
That's late fees. It's penalties. She has to go back and forth to work, so she has to go, and she doesn't have the easy pass. So that's
Like $5.
It's like $5
Yeah.
without the pass, and I'm like, oh.
It's
Yeah.
pimping.
So what ended up happening with her?
Well, she ended up hiring an attorney, and I think they got it cut down to where she doesn't have to pay the late fees, and she has she's on the payment plan. I'm like,
Oh, so it's
payment plan?
16,000
It's-
instead of
yeah.
32,000. Oh, okay.
Like it's crazy, but it's oppressive, and we're like, listen, hell, buy that contract out, and let the General Assembly buy that thing out, and let us pay the General Assembly back, and we can do some, where you can do like a nickel or something if we're going through for that. But listen, it's prohibitive. I doing business in Norfolk. I get on the ferry. I'm like, I'm about to take the
I ain't
ferry.
lying.
over
What
there.
is it,
I'll
75
walk.
cents,
Yeah,
right?
like,
Yeah.
I'll walk. I'm
I'm
good
good.
with the toll. But it's that's another example. Yes, that's affecting Portsmouth.
Yeah, I was like, how big of an
yes.
impact has that had on the city?
The ODU did a study that said that Portsmouth is having the biggest economic impact because of it. The restaurants downtown, Old Town, people coming over. I work in Norfolk, but I want to live in Portsmouth, but I don't want to go through the toll, so I'm just going to live in Norfolk. You know what I
My
mean?
favorite restaurants is down there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Still. with
Yeah, I
them
don't even
duck
go through the
tacos.
tunnel anymore.
Hey,
I'll take the Jordan Bridge if I go up through the tunnel just cause.
get ready
like,
to toll that too. Be careful. They get ready to toll everything because they found a little workarounds. People going around, so they're gonna start tolling those.
I do that too every day to work.
Yep.
Yeah, I take the high
They
rise
told
every
they-
day
they-
to work when I was gone.
Yeah.
You were talking about Prentice Park earlier.
Yeah.
And you were also talking about opportunity in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that Norfolk got the Big HUD project, right? So we've seen them doing some modifications in
Mm-hmm.
that area. But like with Norfolk is moving everybody out and gonna replace them and build them new. So do you guys have anything on the books like that? Or?
Listen, we got a whole nother show for that. Like that's a whole. Listen, cause it's crazy. Like and I know my brothers and sisters in Norfolk are working on it. I'm hoping, but I'm gonna tell you, I would be raising all kind of. So this is what we got: black families that lived in that area, Young's Park, for generations. When you finally build it up, you move them out. Why can't they have access to good quality things, to the economic boom? That's what I'm saying. When you have economic development, for who? Like it's good when everybody can get a piece of it. But when you moving our families out so that others can come in, you're more demographic. We don't want Negroes in this part of the area. So we're trying to redevelop scope. They're not gonna come. The developers not gonna come here with y'all out there, doing so. So we got to get y'all out of here, right? That's crazy. But that's what they're doing. Like it's gentrification all over again. Where you're trying to move it, and I will say this too, man. Like Kenny Alexander, the mayor of Norfolk, like let's do what's right. Like let's stand up. Now I like the mayor. He's doing his thing. He's developing Norfolk, so I don't want to put any whatever. But at the same time, we cannot do families like this.
That's why we gotta take
cannot
care
do
of
black
our
families like
areas.
that. It's crazy.
'Cause
It's
when
crazy. But they're doing it in Portsmouth too. They're doing it in Portsmouth, in Prentice Park, where Lincoln Park used to be.
Yeah.
The housing authorities build these new developments, and they're kind of like, y'all go out. But there's got to be programs and initiatives that we can have to keep those people there and allow them to get the economic benefit from paying. They pay taxes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's crazy, but that's what's
Okay,
happening.
So this might be dumb, right? But I just feel like any question is not dumb.
I agree.
When they move people out, right? When they move people out of these parks, when they build some new shit,
Yep.
where the fuck do they go?
We've been being
Where do they
clean
put
the
them?
whole
You know what I'm
pod. Why, man?
Where do they put them?
You good?
Where do they go?
They
Crazy.
don't.
Problem
They don't. That's
They're just fucking homeless now.
right. You're homeless. And here's the thing, Lee. You're
Lydia's crazy.
homeless
It's a valid question. Maybe
No,
somebody
the
else
question
didn't know
was,
where
I
the
said
fuck
we've
they go.
been being politically correct. We ain't been
Well,
cursing.
I've seen it.
cursing
North.
at
He
all.
been
He's
cussing.
tired of fooling you.
cursed.
I
He
did
been
that.
cussing.
He
I
did
did
cuss
that
earlier.
once.
Okay,
Please,
once.
y'all, like I wouldn't have to see no if I wouldn't come from the other thing. So believe me. So
You're welcome
relax.
to come back anytime.
Man, if y'all have me, I would love to come back anytime. Whenever y'all have me. But you're right. The problem is they become homeless. Or what happens is, this is crazy to me. You'll see people busing people from Norfolk to Portsmouth, right? Homeless. Cities would do that. They would say, hey, get on the bus, go over to Portsmouth. And go to the Portsmouth shelter.
And then be homeless over there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That way I
Crazy.
get my homeless population down, right? I decrease it. Cities would do that, yo. And I don't put it. The more
Right.
people,
That affects the cost of property too.
right. So the question is like, how do we build so that we have restoration process with people who have been in that situation, right?
Yeah.
And then secondly is, how do we stop them from doing that? Like, how do we stop them from literally kicking black families out of neighborhoods that we've invested in for a long time, right? So that's what we're working on at NAACP, is trying to stop that through policy and legislation.
Let me ask you this, and this may be a dumb question, but I'm all about the dollar. Like, I know how to hurt somebody. You cannot hurt me unless you do something to my family or you stop my money. That's it. Do you feel like these protests are even effective?
I absolutely do.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. I believe America's seeing the uprising of us. Like, I think they kind of forgotten, right? Like we bad, y'all. Don't mess
Like
with
Roy
us, y'all.
Jones.
You know
Y'all
what I'm
must
saying?
have
Like,
forgot.
yeah, like it's like the country needed it, right? The country needs this outward expression, and we needed it as a people. The problem is the what's next part is not as clear as the burning of the building right now. That's the problem. So right now it's just like, I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna boycott, I'm gonna march, but then tomorrow I'm gonna chill. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I'm gonna do the Facebook thing. I'm gonna post, I'm gonna Instagram, but I'm not gonna get out there and actually go to the next meeting. Like for us in Portsmouth, our next step is we are having a Chiefs forum by Monday or Tuesday. I texted her last night, I was like, Chief, you need to have this forum in the next 2 days. We're gonna hold you accountable. So I told everybody, the next thing, I need you to show up at this forum, right? Whether it be physical or virtually, I need you to get the link, I need you to participate, I need you to watch it, I need you to be there. That's the next step. Then after that, what's next after that? We gotta start, the General Assembly is gonna be coming up. We gotta start looking at legislation. So keeping their attention our attention is gonna be key to going on to the next step. So yes, let's rally, let's protest. I think they're effective because it puts people on notice. And also, we are expressing ourselves. And I love black expression in whatever form it is, whether it be arts, culturally, but I love us uprising and saying, yo, you just murdered one of us. We're not gonna stand for that. Okay. We're gonna turn the tables over, but at the end of the day, we're gonna vote. Like that's
Do y'all have a newsletter?
I'm be honest with you, I got rid of the newsletter because I was like, nobody's reading the newsletter. We're using money on it. So what we're trying to do, we're trying to develop an app as opposed to a newsletter, so that you can on your
Everybody's
phone.
doing that anyway.
Everybody's doing the
Nobody's
apps.
getting papers anymore.
Yeah, right. Everybody's doing the apps. But then also too, we're trying to have we're using software technology. So like yesterday, we decided to protest quick. Right, it wasn't something that we planned out. We just had to get out there in a moment. So how do I get to the masses of our people in text messages? So we're trying to form something called the Justice League, to where even if you're not a member of the NAACP, because here's the thing, I don't want it to be we can only advocate for you if you're a member. No, that's not Black agenda.
Right.
It is so even if you decide not to join the NAACP, which I hope you do, you have a forum to know what's going on in the next movement, in the next protests or whatever. So we're not doing a newsletter, but we're trying to create other different ways to engage with people. But even though older members do the newsletter, and we did a class that helped them to get, so older members are like, I don't do the computer, we did a class. Okay, come to this class next week. We're going to teach you Word and this and that. And so now they're on the email, like, they call me, hey, Mr. President, I just checked my email. Yo, good. I sent you an email last night. Did you get it? Yep, I got my email.
Crazy.
Go ahead and respond. They be like, okay, click. You know what I mean? But one finger, but they're getting it now. So we're working on that.
How are your youth numbers? Like, how do they look? Like, as far as high schoolers and
So we
college?
we have a youth council, to where people from the ages of 5 through 18 are on that youth council. They have their own agenda. They're on the executive committee for the branch, but they have their own agenda, how they're fighting and what they want to do. So the numbers have increased since I became president, like dramatically.
Okay.
That's good.
So, and I think part of it, the more we got out there, the more people were like, yo, sign me up. You know what I mean? So I tell people, you know, my team, don't go out there and say join the NAACP. Just do something and then say, oh, by the way, I'm a member of the NAACP. Oh, word? Yeah, come
You
join.
got to make this stuff a trend, man. This has to be a trend.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, my goal is for us to be the model branch in the country. So that we can, so branches around the country can be like, yo, look what they did in Portsmouth.
Right.
And, you know, once I get to that point, then I think I'll stop. You know, as long as I can do it. But we got a long way to go towards it.
Do you guys get a lot of pushback? Now, me in my mind, I'm thinking you're the president of NAACP in a black city. The police chief would be more inclined to work with you to keep people out of jail, right? Do you guys get pushback, or is it not as cohesive as one would think it is to get people to work with you?
You know, what happened. Do y'all know what happened? I'm not sure if y'all know how racist the Portsmouth Police Department is. So we have a chief in there right now who made a statement on CNN that said there's no racism in the Portsmouth Police Department.
What color is the chief?
Black.
So you got. Oh, okay.
But how she got there is where the race is. How you got to know the origins of how she got there to understand it, right? So the police union in Portsmouth came and got rid of the original black female police chief, Tanya Chapman. They got rid of her, right? Through what's another thing we got to look at. The police unions are the racist entity inside of the department, right? So one of the things our plan, our demands is we want to know who is the president of the police union in Portsmouth, right? Every single time, because that's important. But they removed her, the racist element removed her, and then now this new chief that was assistant chief at the time came in. So she already came in on a racist platform already.
Right, anyway.
And then to come in and to say, yo, there's no racism in the Portsmouth Police Department. When the former chief who got ousted said it was the most racist department she's ever been in.
And it's coming from a black woman,
And it's
so it's
coming
kind of
from a
like,
black
oh,
woman.
well, if she's saying it.
FOIA emails where it revealed like there was dialogue about how can we get her out.
Yeah.
Within the police department, so clearly not everybody was on board. We actually did that first breaking interview with her when
Yep.
it was like a huge thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy that she, you know, I mean, it's great that they had another African American woman come in her place, but you can't ignore what happened.
Yeah, look, the majority in council are white, right? So the white majority who went along with this racist agenda strategically did that. So we can't get rid of the black police chief. So we got a black assistant. Let this black woman go on there and say
Replace
this,
her, right.
we got him. You know, so it was message. It was message racism. They used it strategically. That's how she could go on CNN and say,
There's no
or
racism.
Wavy or whoever and say, yo, there's no racism. Because they strategically said, there's a black woman said there's no racism. So you can counter what the other black woman did. Because they couldn't have a white man go out there and do that.
No.
So they're like, put her in. So her whole thing to how she got there was based upon racism. And then for her to declare it, so the answer is no. Like we haven't.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And here's the thing. They've learned strategically how to do it. Put a black person as chief that gives us shelter. So people like James Boyd can't come up here and be like, wait a minute, we got a black police chief now. Hold it, man. You know what I mean? And it's harder for me to advocate against a sister.
We're too
Right.
visually stimulated. Way too visually stimulated.
Yeah, like it's harder.
Are most of the police black?
Norfolk, you mean the
For
Portsmouth?
Portsmouth.
Not most of them. It's not majority. So I'll give you an example. There's 12 captains in the Portsmouth Police Department. And all of them are white. Every last.
How? In Portsmouth? I mean,
Well-
I know how, but I'm saying it just.
Yeah. So when
That's
you're a
crazy to
captain,
me.
you're over a department.
Portsmouth
They-
is like Chocolate City. Like what?
Yeah, like
City.
so you have to vote.
That's crazy.
Listen.
I keep telling y'all.
Listen. So in Portsmouth, understand the government, right? It's governed by a city manager that's appointed by city council, right? So in order to really affect the city manager, so council, it's against the law for a council member to go say, "Hey, police chief, go hire a black captain." They can't talk to them because you have to go through the city manager, right? That's by law. So we have to vote so that we have the people on council that will appoint a city manager that's going to tell the chief, go appoint or promote black officers to be captains in the police department.
Are the city council members majority black?
Majority white. So, and that kind of flip-flops. But,
And
that's
also, like, Portsmouth police are like the lowest paid officers.
lowest
in
paid officers.
Hampton.
Yep. Lowest
I'll
paid
go to
officers.
Norfolk in a heartbeat just
Yeah.
because they pay more.
But they deal with a lot. You know what I mean? Like in Portsmouth, you You deal with a lot, but at the same token, we don't have here's the thing. I tell the chief, the extent of our relationship is going to be what you do for my people in our communities. So if you're working with us and we do it, we're going to be on great terms. But don't expect me to be like, ha, 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 ha. Well, you got a policy that's disenfranchising this. Like, she used this term. She used the term professional criminal. And I asked her, I was like, what the hell is a professional criminal? And she said, oh, well, Mr. Boyd, these are people that continuously do crimes over and over. I said, so wait a minute, let's get this straight. When did you become God? You don't get the right to designate when somebody is a professional criminal. Because what happens when you designate somebody a professional criminal, when your officers go to interact with a professional criminal, they see bullet, they see threat, they see danger, they see riffraff to society, don't want to do anything. So when I go out and encounter, what kind of message is that as a chief to deem somebody? Somebody can mess up 7 times and then change their life. You don't get to dictate what that is, but that's the kind of mentality that we have.
3 strikes
Who's
mentality.
been a really good ally to you guys in terms of like just safety, getting people together, you know?
Yeah, there's been a lot of council members that's been really, really good allies. There's certain people like Tanya Chapman was a great ally. We argued back and forth behind closed doors. There was one encounter where we did it publicly, but her and I was like, can't do that.
Well, let me
again.
ask you this: when y'all were getting along, did you guys see that play out in the number of crime had slowed down and all that kind of stuff?
So she started to diversify the department, and when she started to diversify it, she started to engage the community different. So it started to become to where we would look at crime in a different way. Not professional criminals, but these are people that we need to not over prosecute, not over police. So if you see somebody with that could be a possession charge, but you know they need some mental help, maybe we ought to send them to an eval first, and maybe we ought not to, you know what I mean? Like, let's look at some other avenues, right? So when she has to abide the law. She's an officer. So if you're breaking the law, you got, you know what I mean? I got to do something. But then even that token, we were working. Hey, listen, now being that the sheriff we have a great. That's another ally too. The sheriff in Portsmouth, Mike Moore. He's great.
Good.
And he's actually trying to turn the jail into a restoration center as opposed to just a jail. So he's an awesome ally. Yes, Tanya was doing a lot of things, but all that got uprooted when she got ousted by the racist system. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what we got, y'all. We gotta be honest, but the main thing we gotta do as a people is research, right? We gotta research these entities, these systems, how they work, how we can start to infiltrate, and then we can get some change. Yeah.
You got anything else?
You want to do the one gotta go?
We can do the one gotta go. We do one gotta go every week.
Okay.
What's gonna do? One gotta go. So Dru Hill,
Ooh.
Don't do me
Mint
like that.
Condition, or Blackstreet. One gotta go.
These old head, one gotta go.
See, I told you, Abe. I didn't want to just do music, but
He pulled Mint Condition.
That's
Who
your
put
bag?
them on the board?
I was like, yeah.
Abe put this one together.
Okay.
I'm not
okay.
getting rid of Dru Hill.
Why am I
Okay.
not
I'm not
surprised?
We was jamming the other day. I was like, whoa, put Drew in there,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Put my
yeah.
man Cisco and them in there.
Yeah.
Drew, come on.
Damn right.
Don't do that to Dru Hill.
This is gonna be solely based on a little bit where you was born. Like,
True. I ain't answering
I
first.
don't know. Honestly, I don't really need mint condition.
well, she's also like 24.
need
So
that.
it
Yeah,
matters.
okay.
You know what I'm saying? She missed
Make
the
it
bullet.
listen.
I know
though, man,
them.
like,
I don't need
I
them
gotta-
though.
Wait, who was the
Go ahead,
last
go
one?
ahead.
Oh,
You
Black
go ahead. You was passionate about it. Go ahead.
I'm saying, one gotta go.
Go.
Yeah, G-O. You know, go.
I gotta go Blackstreet.
They all got the hits, man. So, Big Edition, Dru Hill, what was it?
Blackstreet.
Don't bring him to
How
no
about
game
Black-
shows, okay? Man, y'all acting like this.
Alright, this did get a little wrong.
Oh my
I
God.
already say Big Edition, but I think we did.
Oh man.
Okay, thank
I
you.
gotta.
Man.
Yeah.
We look at the essentials playlist.
Right.
Chris is wild.
I'm gonna jump out the window, Mint Condition.
Oh, y'all
He's
saying
also
Mint
he's
Condition?
29.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't like that.
Age
I
does
said
not
I don't
totally
I
play
don't
into this.
need that.
Oh, man, that's, man, come on, man.
So what you say?
I haven't said yet.
Nah, say now.
I would have to say.
She's not 29.
Blackstreet.
See, I'm gonna say
I
Blackstreet
gotta
too.
go Blackstreet.
I'm gonna have to say Blackstreet.
And I'm more so hating because my dad loves Blackstreet. That nigga's
I think you should admit it, you're
license
hating.
plate is no diggity, and his girl says no doubt.
right.
He played that to death, so I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm saying
I'm
Mint
cool
Condition.
on it. I don't want to
Even
hear.
though
it.
I'm not that validated with that. Mint condition.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, I'm back.
That's the overall
Blackstreet.
consensus.
Yeah.
Mint condition.
Blackstreet.
Oh, Blackstreet.
What you
Yeah.
say?
That's what Blackstreet. Yeah.
Okay.
We split.
At least you
We
stood
split
on
the
it.
room.
I appreciate that.
We split in the
You stood
room.
on it.
Split in the room.
What you
No,
got,
you
Corey?
can't.
I like
can't.
Blackstreet. Joy? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, listen. I picked who I picked. It was what it
picked who
was.
I
Make condition gotta go.
I'm the oldest person in here, probably. So,
Listen, I'm
What you
with
got, Corey?
Make condition gotta go.
Okay.
all right, that's fine.
I don't know why y'all keep disrespecting me.
What you looking at me all hard for? Because they're all like 25 and younger, probably. That's why.
No, they
I'm
were.
30. I just didn't. I never really
He missed
listened to
that
them like
boat.
that.
He missed that.
I mean, I'll be 40. I almost missed it.
We're the
Almost.
same age. I'm 33. So.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all,
What you got, Ron?
It's all about
Nah.
when you.
Nah.
He's like, I don't know who
I
none of them
don't
are.
know.
I picked Dru Hill.
Do y'all want to do one more question, or we wrap it up? What y'all want to do?
I think we need people need to go join NAACP, man. Let's just
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
sign up.
Let's flood the
I'm gonna
NAACP.
sign up.
Make
I
sure
have
you
to
know what's
sign up.
going on in your
I gotta sign up.
political.
Business owners, you need to get involved.
I did too.
I need y'all to
I
flip that
forgot.
mic around if y'all gonna keep talking.
I was gonna ask like
That's not where you supposed. Oh, it's not on. Okay, cool.
Just talk loud.
I was gonna ask like how does your organization like interact with like Black Lives Matter? Because
Look at Ron with the good question.
Black Lives Matter is like I thought it was just like a hashtag, but apparently it's like its own like corporation.
Oh, yeah.
He young. Why would you think that?
I mean, from our
Hey, you know.
generation, like we throw a hashtag on anything. And it's a movement.
Yeah.
No, that's
I
speaking
respect that.
volumes.
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was actually like its own organization. So how
Correct,
do y'all,
yeah.
like, interact and like advocate together?
Yeah, we do it a lot of ways. Like I know nationally we do it. NAACP is, especially now, we do not want to alienate black folks based upon their organization, right? So, like I told you before, I want you to join the NAACP, but if you're in Black Lives Matter, cool. Like, okay, my question is, are you advocating? Are you standing up for what's right? Are you standing up for our people? If you're doing that, great. So we work hand in hand. Like, we try to. Now there's some differences in how we do things. I think that's where the difference may come in. So we're more advocacy. We're more the legislative, going to General Assembly. Black Lives Matter is more like a outward expression when it comes to direct action, right? Which is cool. We do direct action too. So we work together. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I am a proponent of Black Lives Matter. I'm proponents of any black organization. I'm with you. So we work together.
That's an excellent question.
Was an excellent question. We gotten it before too.
I wanted to ask you: is it cohesive across all 7 cities as far as all the presidents? Do you guys work together, coordinate, collaborate with each other, or is it just separate? Y'all
Like
Virginia Beach?
our cities already operate. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
was gonna
mean,
ask that too.
we do. So we have a regional. It's called Area 2, where we all will come together. They call me the radical.
Okay.
I'm more radical.
How you get that title?
Yeah, I'm more radical because we do more like direct action. So each branch, which is cool, each branch has their own characteristic, right? Like in Chesapeake, they may not do as much direct action, but they're just as important because they are well connected. They operate well within the dynamic of their city. Like in Portsmouth, I gotta turn up because the demographic in my city. In our city, we gotta be doing something. We gotta engage. So we all kind of got our different styles, but we do work together. We do work together when we can, not as much as we need to, but we work together. So I know all the presidents. Me and Joe Diller's in Norfolk. He's a year younger than me.
Yeah, I reached out there.
Yeah,
No response.
Yeah.
No, I'm just a regular
Yeah,
person.
I'm gonna tell him like, hey, bro, just another podcast reached out to you. Why did you not? You know what I mean? No, he wouldn't. No, but we got our own different characteristics, but we do work together when we can.
Who's the president of Virginia Beach?
That is Dr. Sproul. She is Dr. Karen Sproul. She just got appointed about a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago, she became president, and she's good because she's she's a sister who has her own business, and she's really into economic development, huge into it.
Okay.
But yeah, so she's doing good. She's getting out there. The Virginia Beach branch is trying to get more communal, so she's trying to do it.
Okay.
But it's, I tell her all the time, I was like, man, if I was in Virginia Beach, well, I'd be flipping some stuff over in Virginia Beach.
Oh, let me ask you this, because the disparity study came out with, what's his name?
Bruce.
Yeah. And it did show, at least by 25%. Now, you're talking about the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel project is $3 billion. 20% of that has to go to minorities. It's like $300 million. So 25% of that is a large chunk. I know there's a disparity in Portsmouth.
Get in your
I
bag.
know that. So
Is this Virginia Beach? Is this building in Virginia?
Yes.
this is Virginia Beach.
Yo, do y'all know how much wealth is in Virginia?
Yes, old money.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. I went down to Juan Cheese because I have a friend that builds yachts. This is like 2 years, maybe 3 years ago. And so I was down there, and it's a company here. I won't say his name, but it's a white company in Virginia Beach on all the major projects. He's got like 2 boats and building with 2 yachts, 70-foot yachts, and building another one, 2 beach houses. So of course he sees me down there. He's like, what you doing? I told one of the guys, hey, introduce me to him, because I know the guy. I know, he's on projects. And so I walked up to him and I said, hey, he said, hey, this is, Casey, blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, okay, so what you down here for? I said, oh, I'm in the 8A program. So he said, oh, okay. But it's just funny because they look at you like, what you doing, Well, you keep going back getting the same money on these same projects. I know that. Everybody else probably don't know that. But it's just, the disparity got to go. Like,
Listen, your brain, what you're doing, I mean, I know you know what you're doing. I know that your impact is huge. The imagery of you being in these rooms, like, I mean, not to get, but I'm serious, like, for you to know the knowledge and the depth of the contract situation the way that you do is important, and if people would listen, I'm telling you right now, like, we would change the game. But Virginia Beach, y'all, is the wealth is crazy, and I'm still like, I don't think we're doing enough really in Virginia Beach, because man, like, the disparity study came out, and notice when you do a disparity study, the Supreme Court says you have to do the study, and then you have to create programs and policies to address the disparities within 5 years.
hello.
So if you don't do it within 5 years, the disparity study data is null and void, right? You can't use it.
Okay.
So what happens is, this is what they do strategically. They lapse the years. So they say, all right, we did the study, good, we know that, but what we're gonna do, we'll just hold, we won't do any policies and programs, and it'll lapse, and then we don't have any requirement. We'll start. You gotta start, and then it's hard to start all over because you gotta pay for another study, which is 200, 300,000. There you go. So the key is get the disparity study and then push them to do the policy and the program quick so that we can start to address it. Because if you don't have a policy and procedure, you can get sued. Other entities can come and say, the NAACP, they're creating, or the government is creating a program just for black folks. That's not right. You know what I mean? But with the disparity study, you can say, we're addressing this program because of the disparity, right? And you get through the courts. But so.
Well, SBSD is having one on June the 16th. For anybody that's a business owner, if you look like this or any variation of this or yellow, beige, please participate.
Please.
That's your dollars. That's your money.
Yes.
We touched on Black Minority Business Council. Did we touch on that?
No.
Is it-
Did we?
Not real.
You know anything about
Is that the one in Virginia Beach? I know there's one in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I know one of my friends, he's on the board for it. I didn't know if he had any more information. I just saw it started up.
Yeah, I in Virginia Beach, like, so each.
Oh, because I was nominated.
Were you?
Yeah.
Why aren't you?
Congratulations.
No, that was last year. I was nominated.
Congratulations.
I had to think about it. Sorry. Remember when we went to the thing? You was the cameraman? That was the award.
Abe, like, I just hold the camera. Just tell me where to point it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I was
he's-
surprised. I didn't know I was even.
Yeah,
a
listen,
candidate.
you're a topic of discussion. That's what I'm telling you right now.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I use that, be like, hey,
What y'all be saying?
because this is what they like to say. Oh, it's nobody out there doing it. That's a lie.
There's nobody that looks like this out
Right.
here doing it. Most of the women are older.
Right. And then be in the
Older.
industry. But yeah, I know briefly some things about Virginia Beach. Like in Portsmouth, for example, we're trying to formulate that to have that council. But Virginia Beach has not only the council itself, but they have a black political wing too called, I forget the name of it right now. I know in Portsmouth it's called the MLK Steering Committee that does like a lot of the black political fights. But yeah, most cities will have it, but most cities push to have it. But again, it depends on council, right? And we got to be careful even with that because they'll use that to justify certain actions too.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that council too. But I believe Virginia Beach has one, and I think they're the only one. I lied. Chesapeake has one. Yeah, Economic Council that deals with small businesses and the resources that go to black business owners.
And I have to say this, as a woman-owned business and as a black-owned business, once you get to a certain level in your business, there's certain pressures that come with, things like that. You get these multi-million-dollar contracts. I'm gonna sign up with y'all. I'm gonna do a corporate account. Cause you gotta have that back end. Like when people try to bully you,
We'll take it. Will you take
it gets very political. You gotta have somebody to be like, no,
We're
you
gonna
can't
pause
just bully me. Like, no, I'm with them and I'm with them too. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be signing up.
Listen, and look, a lot of stuff that you teach, like the feedback on it. So it's not you get the contract and then what?
And then
You
what?
got to have the behind the house things you got to have. You got to participate with feedback. Even if you don't get the contract, you still got to have like there's a lot of stuff in that whole selection process that people don't know about. So it's a lot of stuff, and you know, you're doing your thing, and it's
Thank you.
good. Keep
I
doing
need
it.
to like coming from you. Thank you.
Keep doing it, because we need it. Listen, I'm gonna be coming to your classes a couple times because I'm trying to get some.
Well, we talked
content
about
too.
doing that
We
anyway,
did.
doing some
We
classes.
did.
It's
We
important.
did.
I mean, we
It's
got
important.
capable business owners out here. Don't even know they can do business with the local, state,
Facts.
or federal government.
Facts.
Come on now.
True.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
That's stuff. That's what's
Let me sign up too.
We
on my
really
house.
appreciate you
y'all,
coming.
man.
For
I
sure.
Yeah,
really
this was
do.
dope. Like,
I
I'm
hope
really
it
gonna
was
sign
helpful.
up.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Asia.
Shout out to Asia.
That's
Hey, what you call it?
Eminem.
April O'Neil? I love
know.
that.
And she stayed on me too. Like, I'm gonna tell you, after that protest, I was like, "Ooh, I'm a little tired."
I'm a little tired.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just like, what's
So
going
you must got
on?
some pull.
But you know what? That's what I think is the spirit of God. Because something said, "No, don't miss this." Like, go,
Yeah.
and especially
Definitely
this
appreciate you coming, man.
moment. Yeah, yeah. So,
And you gotta come again.
Got
anytime,
to.
man.
And
y'all-
your street clothes.
in my
Okay.
street clothes, I'll be more dressed down, man. And hopefully, I'll bring some of the leaders with me too, so y'all can see the dynamic that we have in Portsmouth. It's really
Yeah,
good.
Oh, we're gonna be coming out to you too.
Oh yeah. Come on. Matter of fact, hope y'all. I'll send y'all the link. The Chiefs Forum is coming up. Hopefully, we're pushing to do it on Tuesday. Y'all follow it if y'all can get out to your viewers, man, so we can get some. Not yet, cause she got to answer me. So when she answers, yeah.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
get the
We'll pull
information from what's her name in Hampton about Wednesday? Did you get the information from her for Wednesday?
She never sent me anymore. There's like a youth justice, Galen, the president of Hampton.
Galen
Rally
Community.
for
Yeah.
Justice youth rally and voter registration.
Yep.
It's like a drive-through operation they're trying to run this Wednesday. So look for more details on that, I guess, on their social media. She never got
Yeah,
back to me, but
and she's doing that's like a drive-through registration is dope. Yeah, so Galen does some things over in Hampton too.
Okay.
So yeah, so check that out. But yeah,
Oh.
follow us on Facebook, NAACP Portsmouth, Instagram, NAACP Portsmouth. Follow us, and you'll definitely see what we're doing.
We're gonna put the link in the bio. Well, I'm gonna remind her after she uploads the video.
Show up.
Put the link
Show
in
up.
the bio, but
Show
we're
up
gonna
and
get
Let's
it
show
show
done.
up.
out.
Let's show up, guys.
Get it done.
Let's show up.
We're gonna get it
Appreciate
done.
y'all, man.
Thanks for coming. Just another podcast. Episode 49. Like, subscribe, hit the bell.
Ding.
Best partner 757. And we coming to Portsmouth, man. We're gonna be out Portsmouth.
You just don't want to live there. Oh, okay.
Nah, I mean, look,
We're gonna change.
I went a little.
Guys, when I walk in the room, hate on their minds when they talk to their crews. Like, check out that fly ass chubby fat dude with the blunt in his ear, diamonds on, think he cool, huh? They see the God and they envy. Let Angelique tell it, rumor has it y'all silly. Ain't nobody fresher than Quam up in your city. Couple baddies with me in the car getting litty, rolling that bomb shit, listening to Nipsey. All money in the marathon, Shaka Tinny. My bitch shell, period, poop like Winnie. We